For Cummins, trade is the single biggest driver of growth and profitability for the last 2 decades. And 95% of the customers for our products live outside the US. And Cummins' ability to access those customers successfully is frankly why we're still in business today. Cummins has more than 2,500 direct suppliers in the US alone. And for those suppliers, trade has also been one of the biggest drivers of profitability and growth because they grow as Cummins grows. So small companies that do engineering services and maybe just have 50 or 100 employees, and bigger companies that supply engineering components, all of them depend on the growth of Cummins. Small companies are sophisticated parts of that supply chain, and trade drives growth and employment for those companies too. I think policymakers need to know that the US manufacturing base is competitive. So we are ready to compete in global trade. And we're already winning when there's global trade agreements, even when those free trade agreements aren't perfect. And there's lots of improvement to make in those. When they're not perfect, but there's some rules of trade, we win. US companies win. So rather than back out of that trading system, I'd like to see us push in more. American workers, and especially those at Cummins, are already benefiting from global trade. So we've been able to add jobs in the US as we've expanded our sales all over the world because we're able to trade from here. We do all of our coordination jobs, all of our management, purchasing. We have most of our engineering here. We do a lot of our manufacturing here. We create a global supply chain which makes us more competitive in every market. So we've been able to grow jobs here as we've expanded globally. I think that's not well understood, that when a multinational company grows sales everywhere, their home country benefits the most, and that's the case. But even in specific plants, I want to give a case of Seymour, Indiana. There we make the largest engine we make in our entire product set. And when we decided where we were going to put that engine for manufacturing, because we just launched it 2 years ago, we looked at the possibility of locating manufacturing in China, in India, in the UK, and the US. And when it came down to where to locate it, labor costs were different, there was all kinds of different costs, and of course labor costs were not the cheapest in the US. But we decided that we could make it most cost effectively and most successfully in the US, in Seymour, Indiana. And today, we've now got 1,300 workers there in Seymour, Indiana. We've invested more than $300 million in that plant. And for that town, that investment is pretty much all the economic activity going on there. So not only are those workers employed, those families are being supported for those jobs, most of which come from exports. Again, more than 70% of that plant's production goes outside the US. So that's accessing those 95% of the customers who are not in the US. So those jobs are created by trade, and those families are living today by trade. There's just no way to look at NAFTA as anything but a gigantic success for Cummins. What's really exciting is the opportunity now is to improve that agreement. It's a 20-plus-year-old agreement, and we have been a US company for nearly 100 years now, and we're proud of that. We enjoy operating all over the world, and we're proud of our employees everywhere, but we are at our heart a US company, and we feel pride when we can continue to succeed globally and add more investment, more employment in the US, because we feel like we're fulfilling the job that we set out to do. So I think trade is not only about growing the company, it's about succeeding in your core mission, which is hiring more people, building up the communities, making it a sustainable success as a US corporation. I think trade needs to be at the center of US economy for now and forever.